What's up, guys? My name is Vinci and we are here today. I'm gonna be drawing a portrait and I'm gonna be taking you guys along with me for the ride. So get a glass of tea, coffee, whatever you are drinking, it doesn't matter. I am why am I so I don't know why I get so nervous doing these videos, but it's real. So starting off with this drawing, I have a grid laid out, and essentially this is gonna help me build up a likeness to A$AP Rocky. Because at the end of the day, this is a drawing of him. I want it to look like him. I want it to have his proportion. I want it to represent his soul. That is the goal of art, especially in portraiture. I'm looking to represent the subject in an accurate way while still maintaining some speed with this project, because if you don't control your art, you could spend years and years on a single painting, and right now I'm just looking for a little bit of speed and accuracy, and a grid is a great way to do that. So I'm using, I really love these Blackwing pencils. This is not sponsored by them, but I'm gonna have affiliate links down in the description for all the materials I will be using for this drawing. So if you want to support me in my channel, you can go pick them up. All of these things are super cheap. I'll include a few different pencils because I like these pencils, they're great, but it is nice to have a range of hardness in your pencils to build up a lot of soft gradation. So I'll include some of that down in the description. This one is super awesome for the beginning sketch because it's nice and soft. It allows you to kind of work freely on your piece of paper without messing it up. You can scribble, you can do whatever you want and still smooth it out at the end of the day, which is why I love these. Also, I'm gonna be using a white charcoal pencil against this nice brown background. It stands out, it brings a lot of details forward, makes your drawing look nice and crisp, three-dimensional. Something that I love to include into my drawings. Working through this sketch, in these beginning phases, I am looking for keystones, natural mile markers in the faces, if you will. And some great ones to start off with. One, eyebrows. Well, before the eyebrows, the ears is the main point on the side of your head. So if you can map out the ear, you can pretty much map out everything else in the face. Just have to get your ear right, and then everything else in proportion from there. And then going from the ear, you can draw out this cheekbone as well as the top. You have like a side plane going over. Again, it doesn't really matter in these beginning stages all too much because you're just creating some basic shapes. And I am using this grid on my reference photo to double check things. It's just a basic broad guideline for me, because not every mark you lay down on your piece of paper is going to be in the correct place, and that's okay. down right below your ear, you kind of have, it's almost a little ball shape, and then this oh god, I don't even know, I think it's a tendon, goes down, it connects on both sides of your neck right here into the base, which the base of your rib cage right here. And from here, your shoulder bones, collarbones, clavicles are right in here. And then they come up and around the shoulders, and they kind of curve towards the top. And if you know those basic milestones, you have a great starting point for a portrait, and you have a lot to work off of. Because you don't want to just draw clothes. You need to have the anatomy behind it, because at the end of the day, you're drawing a person. You have a lifelike figure, and they have a naked body under their clothes. So you have to get their anatomy in the drawing somehow, or else the details in the clothes will look like they're on a hanger rather than a person, a human. Then we get the curving neck. Simple shapes down here, nothing too crazy or complex, just some basic geometry that you can sketch in with straight lines. Or curved lines. Top of the shoulder of the suit, looking wonderful. Great. Now you're at this point in the drawing stage. You have lots of loose marks. You can go back over and clean some things up, because like I said before, not all of your marks are going to be the truth. They're not going to be correct. And if you get those out of the picture, as you can see, I've misplaced the edge of his neck by quite a bit. If I would have left that into the later stages of the drawing, everything would have looked misshapen. Reason why this grid can be an important tool to use, especially if you are not the most confident in your drawing ability. And as you can see here too, I originally placed the head much further away than it really needed to be. So we have a nice full and round head, which will be taken in slightly because most of this can be hair details. So let's start going in with these facial features. So this was originally the line I marked out for the nose, right at the very bottom there. We can start there. And it slides back in to the face. A little divot, and then you have an eye socket of sorts. And the side of the face is kind of hidden because it's receding, it's wrapping around. So a lot of these details I'm putting in on this left side of the face can we got a nose. Noses have holes. Now I have to find some of these major key points, and then you can build these off into the eye socket, and you can lay this eye right in here. Nice, right? Now the good part about it, so this looks kind of scary as it is, but you can go over this impromptu eye and kind of wrap the eyelids around. So, we're in a good place. We're in a really good place for this drawing. Now we're gonna move on to the mouth. And because the mouth is, imagine it as a half circle. So it's going to kind of protrude out of the face. It's going to wrap around the muzzle of the mouth. If you've ever seen a skull, it comes forward and it's a little bit of half circle. That's where your teeth lie. So your lips are gonna wrap around your teeth, creating this shape. Now it looks like I may have measured a little bit too long and too shallow. The edge of his lips are a little bit higher than I anticipated. That's okay. Maybe even bring him down a little further. I turn around and they look at me like two guilty children. They're just like jetting around the house. And, okay, so this part of the mouth protrudes a little bit, and then it kind of juts in around your chin, and then there is this almost ball of the chin right here. Sometimes it can be a little higher. It's a little bit all over the place. Great. Check to see everything is lining up. Okay, so this is a little bit too far in. This needs to come up here. All of this mess can be erased. One great tool you have at your disposal when drawing portraits is to simply imagine you are drawing a skull. Because it's the basis of every portrait, it's what's inside your head. And skulls have always come quite easy to me. And it's okay if it doesn't come easy to you. Because these things can be tricky. Another little error I made. So this eye is actually about right there. It's a little higher. These dope little shades kind of hide some details in the face, so you don't have to worry too much about those. You can kind of just forget about them and let them recede into the drawing. Right, let's go into detail to this ear. Because ears are something I know a lot of people have trouble with. And in reality, they're quite simple. It's like a fingerprint. Everyone has one, and it's completely unique. Yet all of them are similar and they look the same. So your job is to capture someone's fingerprint. The fingerprint that's inside their ear in a realistic manner. While not making it too complicated. A lot of portrait artists, for example, Van Gogh, the ears in most of his paintings are just simple lines, nothing more. And you build up some simple shapes, break it down into easily understood and simple components, and you're golden. Right, now I'm going to build out some details in the back side of his head and the hair. Again, here is a place where it's easy and probably best to keep it simple. Getting too complicated can Okay, we are back. Some guy was leaf blowing in the fucking window. Anyway, as I was saying, he's got this nice designer suit, looking super fresh. Oh yeah, we were building out hair. That's what we were doing. Oh yeah, like I was saying, the simpler you can keep it, the better, the less you will be pulling out your hair. And most likely the better your drawing will be. And if your drawing is not good, that's okay, because you can learn from it. Not every work of art has to be perfect. The beauty in art is that everything is not perfect. Things are ugly, they have character, they have what's the word I'm looking for? The things with character and the things that are at first glance very ugly are the things that are most worthwhile in looking at. And essentially this is the end of my sketch. I'm quite happy with it. So at the end of this stage, you can switch to a slightly harder pencil and begin to shade things in and start building your value scale within this painting. Drawing, painting it's the same thing. So you're just blocking out the major shadows, the major shapes. You're blocking out the major shadows and the major shapes of this reference photo. So all of these major shapes are filled in. I can move to the suit. And begin to block in this suit because, again, it's all about keeping it very, very simple. And I typically like to chip off a piece or two of someone's body when I'm doing these sort of portraits, turning it into more of like a bust sculpture. And by giving it this nice sharp shape, these lines that are continuing off the paper are no longer there, and it creates very powerful subject matter and a finished drawing, which is cool. Your drawing should stand out as just a line drawing with no shading, no other elements at all. And that is to say, it should stand out at least to you, and that you will be able to read it in the continued finished process of the drawing. Because it doesn't have to look good, but it should be in a place where you can make it look good. That's where I find a lot of my sketches and drawings don't look very good. But I see that they're in a good place to evolve. Treating this like a bust sculpture, what we can do is add in the base for it. I've always found these bases for sculptures in museums to be quite beautiful, and I like adding them to my drawings. Okay, that looks like hot garbage. I'm erasing it. Okay, now we know that was a bad idea. And it's not always good to continue with bad ideas, because they are, in fact, bad ideas. Create a lot of shape here. You have a whole value scale to work with, so you're trying to go from the darkest dark to the lightest light to create this nice shape. Okay, so here's what I've done. I've completely covered the areas that are going to be slightly shaded or not shaded at all with a light layer of graphite. And what I can do now is take a paper towel and I can just smooth it all out. We're going to do it across the whole drawing. This gives you a nice surface to work on and to continue with your drawing. Takes all the hardness out of the marks you made on the paper. And I love doing this because you can go back over it with your eraser, and you can really just define that sketch you made from the outset, and really just fine-tune all the shapes and get them nice and soft or sharp, whatever they need to be. And it's nice and neutral. It's not going to be hard to keep these shapes going. Because this is all very neutral, you can start going back over it with a nice dark color. You don't want to do this from the outset because you leave a nice, pretty much permanent mark on the paper that's not going to go anywhere. So you want to be sure you know where you're placing it is and if it's the right spot. Because a lot of the times, as you saw from the beginning of this drawing, you place a mark down on the paper and it's not correct. It's not how it should be. And if you just start going ham willy-nilly with all the black you can, you're going to end up with a subpar drawing and or work of art. And this seems to kind of fade down towards the bottom of this. There doesn't seem to be a lot of detail. It's kind of a nice gradient. And this is a fancy suit, so you're gonna add all of the bells and whistles. Because it has to look right, it has to look correct. It's gotta look like a Dior suit. If it doesn't, you're not fooling anyone. You might be fooling yourself, but that's the only person you're fooling. Despite what people say, you cannot fake it till you make it. It's a myth. A fraud will always be found out. Hit those kittens with a pillow. Now I'm going back over my sketch and I am reinforcing some of these darker shadows. I believe that's a tattoo. So working through some of these shapes in the hair, again, like I said before, your goal is to keep it as simple as possible, and doing that, you just try to focus on building out these shapes, building out these little shapes that make up the larger whole. And all of it really breaks down to something is either a square or a triangle or a cylinder or a cube. And if you just break things down to their basic geometric form, drawing them becomes quite easy and very doable for anyone, because everything has its own basic essence, its simplest and most basic form. I kind of need something to put my hand on. One of the reasons why I love drawing portraits, especially for people who have glasses on, well, you do basic outlines in black, and then you come back over with white and you can do some incredible things and like make some incredible effects very easily. And it makes for some nice art. So now it is time. We are now going to use white. Actually, right before I do that, this white works best if you've mapped out the areas that are the whitest. As you can see, this white starkly contrasts with this subtle brown background, and it's quite spectacular, I know. It's one of my favorite effects. Right now what I'm looking for are the shapes in the face that are going to come towards the viewer. Now I wouldn't want to put white right on the edge, actually, because I wouldn't want that to come forward. Right on the edge. What am I talking about? I mean, okay, Okay, this edge, for example, you wouldn't want to put it there because it is wrapping around the face. So this is all just gonna be in shadow. It's gonna be receding into the distance, into the abyss. So you don't want to put white there because you don't want to put emphasis on it. Of that out of the way, I'm gonna clean up the background just a smidge, and you have yourself a nice simplified drawing. While I am cleaning up these final details, I just want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate you stopping by to support me in my art. I want you to leave any questions, comments, concerns down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of this video. It really helps me out to see if you guys are liking the content or not. And go ahead and subscribe because this helps me rank higher in YouTube, and it helps more people like you see the content that I'm posting, and in the end it really goes a long way. So I want to say thank you for watching and see you next time.